Research Methodology and Data Analysis. Lesson 4. Types and levels of measurement. Types and levels of measurement. To measure a variable is to assign a value to objects, events, or outcomes of an event according to specified rules. In a research project, the researcher does not measure the respondent but measures the characteristics of the respondents. The characteristics of interest for the study are called variables. For example, in a study on consumer preferences towards certain food outlets, the researcher does not measure consumers but the variables such as their age, gender, preferences, perception, attitudes, amount of purchase. The researcher assigns numbers to objects of the study according to certain pre-specified rules. The specification rules for assigning numbers to the characteristics of the objects are the most important aspect of measurement. The purpose of assigning figures to the characteristics of the objects is to facilitate the communication of measurement rules and results, and to permit statistical analysis of the resulting data. 4 types of measurement, namely: 1. Nominal. 2. Ordinal. 3. Interval. 4. Ratio. The nominal scale. Nominal scale data describes the variable in terms of its category and the measure differs in terms of quality rather than quantity. The nominal scales are assigned to represent the categories of which the characteristic of data belongs. Nominal scale measure is the most basic measure among the 4 levels of scale designs and used mainly for the purpose of identifying the respondents in terms of their gender, ethnic groups, socioeconomic status, preferences, etc. In this scale, the question requires respondents to select only one descriptor as their response. The nominal scale. The ordinal scale. The ordinal level of measurement describes variables of interest along some type of continuum. This measurement refers to the variables in terms of its rankings of various outcomes such as big and small. Thus the scale provided indicates the relative positions of the objects in its group but not the magnitude of differences between them. This scale allows respondents to express the relative magnitude between the answers to a question as illustrated in following example. The researcher can rank order the row responses into a hierarchical pattern. The ordinal scale. The interval scale. The interval scale measurement describes the variables in terms of some equal intervals between them. The scale allows respondents to select an appropriate response in which the value falls in a given interval. Data to obtain using the interval scale. Ratio scale. Ratio scale describes variables that have equal intervals between them but also have an absolute zero. This means they are variables for which one possible value is zero or the actual absence of the variable or trait is possible. Ratio scales assign absolute rather those relative quantities. Ratio scale. For example, both monetary values and weight are ratio scales because they possess absolute zeros and interval properties. The absolute zero represents a point on the scale at which there is an absence of the given attribute. Ratio scale is the highest level of measurement among the 4 scales and the statistics that can be used in the analysis are the most flexible. However, in behavioral research interval scale typically is the appropriate measurements. Data to obtain using the ratio scale. 1. How much do you pay for your monthly rent? 2. How long does it take for you to drive to the office every day? 3. How many school-going children are there in your family? Please continue the following lesson. Thank you for watching.